Hello, it's Melissa again. All right, so it's been a while now where I felt God's been leading me to start and a YouTube channel, and it took me a while to get to a place where I felt comfortable. I bought maybe the camera, maybe from Five Below. I bought the little flashlight thingy that goes and I guess makes the footage look better, but I did a video and I kind of been back and forth with, what am I going to talk about? What is the next thing going to be? And I kind of had my hours, but I'll admit I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And, I always think of those verses that talk about in the Bible, do, and all you do glorify the Lord. And what it meant to me is perfectionism. Today I went to a funeral that basically honored a lady. She was about my age. And she was a singer, so I can relate. I sing too. And one thing the pastor said and usually say, I'm not just gonna do the typical eulogy like we do at every, that most pastors do at every funeral. And then he brought up a couple of points, and one point stood out to me. He said to just, he said, do what you can with the gifts God gave you. He's basically not looking for this perfectionism. He's going to be glorified. He's going to make sure his name is glorified. And what that brought me back to was when I first started singing, I was very, very shy. I literally heard a voice in the shower one night saying, you need to go sing. And I'm like, I don't want to go sing. I don't know how to hit all them notes. I think of people like Patti LaBelle and Aretha Franklin. I'm like, I can't hit all them notes, and I might not remember the songs. And I said no. Instead of thinking what that voice was, I was like, no, I'm not. But one thing led to another, and it took a matter of a couple of weeks between maybe people approaching me when they hearing me hum, or people directly approach me like, hey, you should join the choir, whatever like that. And one day, I just got tired of it. I was like, let me just do it to prove to them that I ain't gonna be able to do this. I'm proving to them. And I went and somebody encouraged me to speak to the one of the lead people there. And he did a couple of notes, and we did the ha ha ha. So he was like, you can sing. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah, where you been all this time now? At this time, I've been going to this church for definitely over 16, 17 years. And I remember he was asking, I never, are you a member here? And stuff like that, because the way his piano sits, it sits a little bit below, and there's a wall where you can't see the congregation. So he just was really in shock that I've been there all this time and I never thought to join. And so, long story short, I kind of still stayed in the background until the way they did it one time, they would put text songs, and they'll be like, well, who wants, and then when you get there, they'll be during rehearsal, they'll be like, well, who wants to lead? And I always back off. I'm like, I could do background, because I still felt I wasn't good enough. I still felt I couldn't really hit certain notes, because he always consistently had to train me no, it's like this, it's like that. But free at my home, I'm like a superstar, I feel like it's just me, me and the walls and the couches, and my kids who I'm kind of singing and dancing around. So what he did, what they did was they said, okay, we're going to have this song. Who wants to sing it? So it was Days of Elijah. I'm like, oh, I be sweeping my house, swinging on my little broomstick, singing to that. I lead it, but I'm just going to do one verse. I'm going to just do one verse, right? So I did this song. I did my point. These are the days of Elijah, right? So, still kind of shy, but my point is, when I got up there and sang in rehearsal, people were like, whoa, do it just like that Sunday. And now, I don't know where it came from, what gave me that power to sing that song like that in rehearsal, but after it was done, I went back to my little nervous self. And then the person who sang the second verse, she was like, no, you got to do both parts. And so Sunday came. Mind you, throughout the week, I was getting like these phone calls like, you better be practicing. You better be practicing. Make sure you do it just like that. Or I get a text. And even when I walked in Sunday morning, the pastor was like, I can't wait for you to sing that song. And I just felt all this pressure. But I say all that to say this. Despite all that nervousness and, knowing the song like the back of my head, like, oh, I hope I don't mess up a word, God came through. He came through and my shyness just melted away as I sang. Like, I just felt like this strength in me to be able to sing that song. And I literally went back to the stands and cried. Went back to the stands and cried. And then I was filled with the Holy Spirit. And that was in a testimony we'll talk about at a later date. But I want to get back to what the funeral, when he said that point about you have to use your gifts. You have to use what God gave you. If God gave you an assignment, that's the word. Now it's coming back to me. If God gave you an assignment, don't worry about what you have and don't have. If God gave you an assignment, you want to be able to rest in peace, go up there, and we all know the good and faithful servant verse that we say, that we want to hear from God. It's like, okay, you made it up here, but just like that story with the talents, when he gave the 3 men talents, and 2 were able to basically multiply what the master gave them. The last one was like, oh, listen, I hid it away from you. It's all good, right? And the master was like, you foolish man. You just took the money basically and hid it in the ground for me? Like, no, you're supposed to take this and you're supposed to multiply it. And then that's what God expects from us. And I think my issue sometimes is disobedience. Like I told you the story about me not wanting to sing. But this one was more like, hey, God, I seen all you done for me. I'm grateful for it. I want this to be perfect. And I want to be perfect to the point where now it looks like procrastination. And in a nutshell and definition, that's what it is. But it was mainly like, okay, when I do the video, I'm going to do it like this. And then I'm going to write down and refer to my points. And then, okay, and then when I edit it, maybe I'll have like a word there, like the scripture there. So I'm going through all this in my head. I've been procrastinating. But today at the funeral, when he said everybody's given an assignment, every believer is given an assignment, and your job is to glorify the Father. What gifts, what talents are you sitting on? Are you just sitting on them, or are you just disobeying? Like, what is it? And I was like, dang, I just came to this funeral like to sing, people, I didn't expect God to be chasing me like this. And mind you, I've had that revelation for over a week or so now, and I just still been sitting on it, but I'm like, I'm going to do it. And so it just makes it so much powerful to see that God is coming after you, and you like, what is it, God? Like, I'm going to just do it. I don't know who it's going to reach. I don't know who it's going to affect, but it must be something powerful. And God, you know what? I'm done running. I'm going to just do it, because, at the end of the day, it's not the fear of going up there to him. That's part of it. But one thing I do love helping people. And I get a joy out of it. I get a joy out of helping people, maybe putting a smile on somebody's face, or even sharing something that's like a revelation to them. Like some stuff you may say to people, it seems so small, but to them it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So now it's like, well, what is something about my life or something that I see that may be a revelation to them that may help them out. So I know that God has gifted me with so much, and that's just something I have to acknowledge, even though I may think it's small or little or not developed as I want. God feels it's good enough. God feels it's good enough, and he feels that it's something that needs to reach people. So I'm gonna move forward with this. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna move forward with this. As you notice, the title does say standing in awe. Stand in awe. And I basically got that title from just reading the Bible, just growing in God, and just becoming more and more amazed about who God is. Just like looking at his character in the Bible, like how he was with these same people, probably was perfectionist like me, probably was hesitant of their abilities at first, but as they walk with him, they realize, like, I don't need to have this perfectly developed. I'm not a, YouTuber. I'm not a technology person, but God has making it, to the point to allow me to minister to people that might not need all the bells and whistles, people that just want to hear a clean conversation. So I thank God for this moment. That was something that just hit me there when he said it, and I just was like, God, I know you're talking to me. I'm gonna do it today. If I don't do nothing else, I'm just gonna remember this moment by leaving on my funeral dress, and I'm gonna do my first video, because we celebrated the life of someone, but this is a funeral for procrastination. It's a funeral for procrastination. It's also a celebration into a new chapter of what God has called and gifted me to do. I thank you for watching. If there's anybody you think needs to hear this message as well, hit the like, hit subscribe, and just look forward to more videos. Thank you.